What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Welcome back to Fishing Texas Waters. This is podcast number 4. This podcast is a short little podcast. I want to know what you want to know. This podcast is about stories. I want to say this podcast is about funny fishing stories. I have one funny fishing story. I got plenty of fishing stories, plenty of funny fishing stories, and other type of fishing stories. But this first fishing story, because I want to get y'all's interaction. I want to get interaction from the people that actually listen to me, the people that are not 12 years old listening to my podcast, and that's my dog. We call him Toby. Shout out Toby Can too. I'm out here drinking a couple of beers, and I was thinking about what could I do for another podcast, and this podcast I want to do is, like I said, I want to do another funny podcast or a funny story podcast, funny fishing story podcast, funny outdoor story, whatever podcast y'all have. Shout it out in the comments or send me an email if you're interested in sending me an email and me featuring it on one of my episodes. Let me know, and I'll send you an email that you can send me as a story. I'll read through it, and then I'll put it on a podcast if y'all are interested, of other people listening to it. My channel is not as big as other channels, but hey, at least it'll be out there, and I'll conversate with y'all. Anyway, let me get back to my story. One of my stories was I was out there at Corpus Christi, Texas. I was fishing with my family, and this guy comes up to me. He was like, "Hey," he was amazed, and I was looking at him like, "What are you so amazed about?" And he was like, "Well, I'm from I want to say he was from Oklahoma," and he said that they drove hours down here to Corpus Christi to see the ocean for the first time. This is the first time seeing the ocean. I was like, to me it was wild. I was like, that's weird, because I grew up my whole life seeing the ocean, and it's not a big deal anymore. It's nothing to be amazed about, but I do enjoy the ocean. I do enjoy the scenery, the when the sun comes, the sunrise, sunset for the ocean, the sound the ocean makes when you're out there relaxing, even if you're not catching anything. Like, it's just the ambiance. Damn it, boy, that's a $10 word right there. Anyway, the ambiance of the weather, the atmosphere, the cool wind, the warm wind. And this guy, it happened to be a nice, beautiful clear day. There are a couple of clouds in the air. Shut the fuck up. Well, anyway, there's some clouds in the air. It was a beautiful day, and I'm out there fishing. And of course, y'all know me. Well, when I start putting my videos, or the people that watched my videos before I deleted them, I love live fishing, live bait fishing, or fresh bait fishing. And to people that don't understand what fresh bait fishing is, I know a lot of people know what it is. Don't at me. Some people don't. Well, I was out there live bait fishing, meaning I had a crab, which was sedated because of the ice. If you put a live crab into ice, they become sedated. And if you take them out, and of course, if you leave them in there for hours, I mean, they're going to be dead. But you put them on ice, they'll be sedated. And that's how I had my crabs. I just got them. And I was telling this guy comes up to me. I was getting ready to throw it. And he was like, hey, he tells me a story about how he's from Oklahoma, and that he's never seen the ocean, and he's amazed, and it's awesome, and the people are nice. Where am I from? I tell him I'm from San Antonio. Yeah, we come down here all the time. And he's like, wow, I really love the ocean, it's nice. And I was like, oh. In my head, I was like, dude, I see this shit all the time. And but I don't say that because, I mean, like somebody that like me, I go to Disney, somebody that lives over there in Disney or around Disney, they'll be like, this place is a piece of shit. I see this all the time. Same thing with us. People come down see the Riverwalk. I'm like, bro, I live in San Antonio. I think the last time I went to the Riverwalk was about 15, 16 years ago. It's not a big deal, but this guy, I mean, you gotta understand, like, I understand he's never seen the ocean, so it might be a different experience. So I was telling him, yeah, I was like, this is how I fish. He was like, what are you fishing with? I said, I'm fishing with a crab. I tell him, hey, yeah, this is, he goes, how do you hook it? I was like, oh, there's no problem. You hook it by the leg, and once you hook it by the leg, and then it comes out the back part of the shell of the crab, right where it clamps from the body. And if you ever fish with crab, you know what I'm talking about. Hook it by the leg, through the leg, that little crease by the leg, and out the back part. And then you throw it, it won't come off the hook unless something bites it. And then you hook them. It's a more secure way to hooking up a crab. If you're gonna hook it with the whole crab on there. If you're gonna crack it in half, there's different ways of hooking it with the crab. Anyway, that's how I hooked it. That's how everybody else hooks it. I've always hooked it the same way. Never came off my hook. Well, of course, when I'm telling this guy, hey, you hook it by the leg, hook it by the back, you throw it, it'll never fly off. And you'll always guarantee to catch something, because whoever's going to bite the crab or a whole crab is going to be a good sized fish. It being a hardhead or a shark or a red, anything. You're able to catch it. Well, I tell this guy and I hook it up and I toss this fishing rod with heart, man. Just because I want to impress this guy. I want to say, man, I threw in the middle of the jetty. This guy is like, man, this guy's a fucking hell of a fisherman. And don't you know, man, the one time I hook it, the one time I'm telling this dude about how to do it, and don't you know, the goddamn crab flies off. As soon as I let it go, perfect throw. The only part that wasn't perfect is the goddamn crab flew off the damn hook as soon as I threw it. Oh my god. You know what the dude looks at me? He goes, oh, thank you, sir. And that son bitch walks away. Holy shit, man. I was like, man, I put my head down. I was like, man, this son bitch is going to go back and have this story about this dude, this fucking Mexican over here, trying to tell him how to throw a fish, throw a crab, and the fucking crab flies off the hook. If you're out there and you hear this video, tell me what you remember of that day. If not, if it never runs into you, whatever, but I still remember that day, that day to this day. I'll never forget it. How I'm trying to tell you how I fish and how I fish so the crab won't come off, the bait won't come off, and the bait flew off the hook. But yeah, that was my short little. It was a lot funnier. I mean, you had to be there. But just imagine yourself telling somebody how to do something that's never done something and it goes horribly wrong. But yeah, that was one of my fishing stories. It was funny at the time. I mean, if my family members, everybody that remembers that story, or were there when I tried to tell this dude how to fish with a crab, how to hook a crab, and the goddamn crab flies off. And that guy just says, thank you, sir. He walks away. That shit was hilarious. But, yeah, if you got an interesting story, a funny story, let me know. I'll send you my email. And I'll feature it on another episode of Fishing Texas Waters. And, yeah, I'm glad y'all are sticking around. If y'all like this type of podcast, you're interested in more stories, I got a lot more stories that are drunk, funny, beer drinking, pier fishing, other type of experience that I had over all my years of fishing. Let me know if y'all are interested, and if not, I'm still gonna come up with some more videos. podcast, and I'll see y'all next week.